Video number 2. Just way more Amy than you probably wanted in a day, but here it is. We want to keep working through the questions that you guys were kind enough to ask me umpteen months ago in response to my call for questions. So on we go through the list. And I look forward to your comments on these as well. Because I know everybody's had a different experience, or a lot of us have had different experiences, and I think they all add value. I mean, they're all anecdotal, right? These aren't big data points that we're able to bring up, but we can talk about what happened to us and try to find people who seem similar to us when trying to figure out what the journey's going to look like when we go through it. And paying it forward is quite literally how I feel right now. All I want to do is be there for people who were like me, or people who weren't like me, who are looking for something, looking for more information, trying to decide whether or not this big change is for them, trying to figure out what role surgery should have in planning out their future health. And it's a really big decision, and I really respect that and the process you have to go through to make it. So, okay, moving on. Enough seriousness. Let's see. Someone asked, I think it was Gretchen asked, do my coworkers know? Was I open? And were there any negative comments that made me want to throat punch them? I don't think I've had too many throat punch options, or episodes, rather. In my case, I was really open with the people that I worked with. And everyone was really supportive. I've had a number of people say the things like, oh, you're skinny enough, or are you stopping? You're stopping, right? You're stopping to lose. You're stopping losing weight. You're done. You should be done, right? So I've had some of that. There's just people have in their mind's eye where they want you to stop. And because the change is so drastic and so quick with this type of surgery, I think it's natural for people to have, I don't want to use unnecessarily big words, but cognitive dissonance is the phrase, okay? They have trouble dealing with the comparison of what's in their mind's eye, what was in their mind's eye for you, and what they're confronted with when they look at you. That's tough. I mean, it takes even longer for the person going through it. So I try to be sympathetic. But at the same time, I pretty much shut those conversations down. I'm a lawyer by background, so I usually don't put up with, that makes me sound like such a bitch. If somebody's being disrespectful to anybody else, I usually pretty quick to try to shut that down. So that applies in these situations as well. This is your body, this is your health, and this is your life. There are very few situations where anyone has the right to comment on that at length. And if they were not taught that as a kid, then I'll help them. I don't really know any other way to put it. I know it's probably coming from a place of caring, possibly, but that doesn't mean that, I need to deal with that from anybody but close friends and family. Coworkers, I don't count in that number for the most part. Good people, but there's a distance between us, all of us, for a reason. We're friends, we're good colleagues, and that's about it. So I don't know if that answers it, but that's how I deal with it. Probably in a little bit of a shutdown way, but that's how I deal with it. What is my diet regimen now? Well, I kind of covered some of that in terms of the carbs, but I eat a lot. I'm going to tell you guys, as a duodenal switch patient and an early on duodenal switch patient, so I'm not going to pretend like I know how this is going to play 4 years out, 3 years out, anything like that. But right now, I eat probably 7 times a day. I'm like a toddler. I'm like, time to feed the baby. Like I don't eat a lot at one sitting, and I always eat really high in protein. And there are foods that I've now learned that I basically need to avoid. Legumes, I cannot tolerate at all. Beans of any kind cause me excruciating pain, and I've never had anything like that prior to surgery. So it's definitely a result of surgery. But I still eat some veg. I'm just a little more careful about what kind. Even like sugar snap peas and things like that I've always enjoyed are no longer a go for me. And I've also become somewhat, I think, lactose intolerant. I don't drink milk anymore, and I don't eat very much of any kind of ice cream, which was fine because the sugar contents are usually too high with those anyway. But I do still eat cheese. Most of the lactose is consumed in the production of cheese by the bacteria that are making the cheese. So the sharper the cheese, the harder the cheese, the less lactose is in it. You guys probably know that. But anyway, so I do sharp cheddars and parmesans and all that kind of good stuff. I snack on cheese all the time. It's one of my major protein sources besides meat and eggs, and I love it. So those are big ones for me. My meals are usually things like taking half an avocado, piling on some, various, shredded chicken and cheese and this and that and the other thing, some tomatoes and cutting it all up and nom, 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 nom. So something like that. Healthy fats. I malabsorb fat quite well. So I consume a lot of fat in my daily intake, and I don't really count calories, primarily because it just hasn't been an issue yet. I'll start if it seems to become one, but honestly, I think for me the key is going to be keeping the carbs where they need to be, and that's one of the benefits of my malabsorption, is I get to eat quite a bit. And I knew I was going to be somebody who enjoyed food and wanted to have some flexibility there. So and that's not why I chose the surgery. I chose the surgery because it had the best record on resolving diabetes, and that was my number one goal. And I chose it, and I went through it, and I took the extra risk, and that's why I did it. And that's why I take more vitamins than most of you guys have to take who aren't DSers. And that's fine with me. That's a trade I was more than willing to make sure that diabetes never came back into my life, because I've seen what it's done to my family members. So, but the side benefit of that is obviously the food. So, yeah, I eat lots of luscious, rich stuff. I'm not going to lie. It's great. My coffee is, stacked with high-fat coconut milk and all kinds of good stuff. Not so much whole milk anymore, but I definitely don't do without in that department. Not much help to you guys who are VSGers, and I am very sorry about that. You have hundreds and hundreds of folks making videos that'll give you great tips on that. But if you're a DS person and you're looking for any kind of recipes that are going to work for what you're doing, please talk to me, and I'll probably be making some videos in the coming months anyway, with some ideas that anybody can use, and I'll suggest adaptations for other kinds of diets and WLS issues. So hopefully those will prove useful, because I really have enjoyed learning to cook for my new body. So okay, sorry, moving on. Do I like my Fitbit Blaze? I'm not wearing it right now, but I love it. I've been wearing it every single day. I just forgot to charge it, and so when I woke up this morning, I had to throw it on the charger. And it is conspicuously absent, but I have a nice working farmer's tan right here. It's the extra white, where it usually goes, and it motivates me like crazy. Also, it tells me when my phone is ringing, who's calling, and what texts I have, and what they say. So I've found that to all be really, really useful to have right on my at my fingertips, right on my arm, and I can control my Bluetooth headphones. I can control all the music I'm playing while I run just using my watch, which is another really nice perk. So I highly recommend looking at the Blaze sometime if that's what you're interested in. It's a really big watch. It's not for everybody. I didn't buy it as part of the prize because honestly it's so huge that I think a lot of people would be turned off by it, but it's something I've just incorporated in because the benefits outweighed the costs for me. So thumbs up for that. Okay, what has happened to you since week 40? Well, lots of good things in terms of the health and fitness improving, and I can go into all of that, but I don't want to bore anybody. But basically, continuously measured improvement in all of the health and fitness stuff, which I'm really excited about. And I just dig the things that I can do. I don't know how to explain it any other way, but it's an amazing feeling. And it also feels great to wake up without pain. I had such severe back pain from my slip discs, and the increased core strength that I've been able to add, plus the reduced weight on my spine because I weigh less, has made a big difference in what my life is like now. And I really felt like I was trending downward. Like this was the beginning of things aging and deteriorating health and everything else going south, and that I'd reached the phase. Louis C.K. talked about when you go to the doctor and you've reached a certain age and the doctor, you tell him you have some ailment you have, and he's like, yeah, that's just something you have now. You're 40, man. This is it. That's how it is. They don't try to fix it anymore. And I kind of laugh, but then it's sort of sad because it's very true. There are certain things that just happen that doctors are like, yep, that's your life now. You got to figure out how to manage whatever that is. So it's good. Amusing. Anyway, on the downside, and this will apply to virtually none of you, thankfully, I have had increasing trouble with my epilepsy as a result of my weight loss and my weight loss surgery. We've been doing a lot of exploring as to why that might be. I thought weighing less, I wouldn't need as much medication, but in fact, because I malabsorb so much, I in fact need to increase my medication. It's a process. It takes time. You can only up it a little bit every week, and you have to give your brain chemistry time to adjust. So it's been really tough. I've been dealing with a lot of seizures over the past several months, and that's part of the reason why I kind of checked out. Kind of turned inward in my health focus, got sort of down, feeling like so many things had been going right health-wise, and then that went wrong. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on it too much because honestly, I'm hopefully starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel on these, and things are starting to get better. But it's been a tough few months, and I didn't want something else to spiral out of control after I'd worked so hard this last year to start nipping away at sleep apnea, blood pressure, diabetes, back pain. So many things had gotten better, and I think overall things are better. I think overall things are in a good place, but to have that one bounce back in the negative column there for a while has been a struggle. But as with everything else that I've worked through over the course of my life, I'll get through it. Okay. Am I happy at my current weight? Yes. Yes, I am. To be short and sweet about it, I'm totally happy with it. I wouldn't care if I lost another pound. It would be fun to touch 160 so I can walk into the doctor's office and he can snap my photo and we can all laugh and talk about how great things are or whatever. But I don't need that. I got the thing out of this surgery that I wanted the most. I got my health back, and I'm ecstatic. What would I change about my WLS experience? Okay, well, let's see. I think I would change, I don't know that I would change anything. I was able to take time off, and I would counsel anybody to make sure you give yourself enough time off right after surgery to get back to life, because it takes some time, and you need to be patient with yourself during that process. I had really supportive family and friends around me. That's another thing, to the extent that you have control over that, which most of us don't, but if you do, make sure you surround yourself with good people for this process, because you're going to need to lean on some folks probably. I really did a lot of research about surgeries and surgeons before I made my decision, and I wouldn't change that, and I would recommend it to anybody. And then I stayed on top of the insurance company, very much so, throughout my process, to make sure that I didn't pay anything I didn't have to pay for, which in my case was luckily nothing. But I, had the good fortune to have been a benefits attorney, so I spent time reviewing all the documents and making sure that I wasn't receiving any surprise invoices in the mail. So it's nothing in particular that I did, I don't think. I mean, I tried to do everything I could to be prepared, But I think I had a really great weight loss surgery experience, and I think part of that was preparation, and a big part of it was the luck and skill and the kindness of the people around me. So I don't think I'd change anything, which sounds crazy, but it's true. Number 11, do I track food every day? What does one day of meals look like for me? I think I've covered most of that. I definitely don't track food every day, but I have a pretty good eye for what I'm eating. And I really do eat 6 or 7 times a day. I'll do a few crackers with some cheese and some veggies. I'll do, like I said, avocado with some chicken salad on it, something like that. I will do a pizza that I put lots of protein on, and I use an extremely thin crust, like a flour tortilla. And so by the time I've loaded all the protein on there, I really only eat like 1 or 2 slices, so my carbs stay pretty low. I make fish tacos. Sometimes I'll eat the tortillas, sometimes I put them in lettuce cups, which is one of my family's absolute favorite things to eat, so that may be a recipe I try to share with you guys. And in the morning, sometimes I will do, historically I've been doing like drinkable yogurt, drinkable Greek yogurt with some protein powder added, because I do make sure I get in my protein every day. But I'm able to eat often enough and eat enough that I mostly get my protein from food, and frankly I like it that way. I tend to not like sweets as much as some folks, so for me the entire marketplace of sweetened protein drinks is not for me. And there are other high protein options, and like Parmesan crisps that you can make just by baking Parmesan on like a silicone mat, make like little chips out of them, and there's tons of different things you can do to up your protein without having to go sweet, which is the way I like it. Okay, is there, we're over again. Okay, I'm going to take the last 4 questions in the final video, and I can't believe you guys would even watch all these, but thank you if you did, and I hope the questions are helpful to everybody. Hold on, I'll be back for